This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you an exclusive interview with Dr. AJAY MATHUR, Director General, International Solar Alliance on Priorities and Focus Areas of 5th Assembly of ISA. The interviewer is Sonu Sood, AIR correspondent.
The International Solar Alliance, ISA, is holding its 5th Assembly in Delhi from 17th to 20th October. To give us a deeper insight into this massive global collaborative effort for energy transformation, we have with us Director General of International Solar Alliance, Dr. AJAY MATHUR. Dr. Mathur, a warm welcome to you from All India Radio.
Thank you very much.
Sir, can you tell us about the genesis and key objectives of International Solar Alliance and what has been India's role in ISA?
The ISA was mooted as a global alliance at the 2015 Conference of the Parties, the Climate Change Convention, which happened in Paris, by Prime Minister Modi and then French President François Hollande. And the goal was that this is an international organization of countries which seeks to make solar as the energy source of choice across the world. I think it was in 2018 that the international treaty was signed by an adequate number of countries, and there was a large ceremony in Delhi where the various heads of governments of these various countries came in. Since then we have grown. Today 110 countries have signed that framework agreement and 90 have actually ratified it through their parliaments as well. This is our 5th assembly, and at this meeting all our member countries would be represented. We will be represented at the minister level by 30 countries. We look forward to welcoming all the delegates to this meeting as we continue with our work on making solar as the energy source of choice across all our member countries.
So what is the agenda and focus areas of this year's assembly?
If I can backtrack a little bit, one of the key areas is the issue that the solar investment has been very lopsided, and what does Solar Alliance do to address it? In 2021, there was a record amount of investment that went into the solar sector globally, or went into electricity sector. In the solar sector alone, it was $200 billion, but 74% of it went to the OECD countries in China. Only 5% of it went to all of Africa. And Africa is the continent where the sunlight is brightest, where the largest energy demand is occurring. This led us to talk to investors, and we talked to about 100 investors to find out what the problem was. And they said that the confidence with which they lend or invest in many of the African countries is wanting, and consequently we as the Solar Alliance decided that we needed to do something about it. At this assembly, we will take forward a proposal to create a risk management facility, which will comprise of a payment guarantee mechanism, which means that if the country is unable to pay, this would be the payer of last resort. This would hopefully create the confidence for the private sector investors around the world to invest in solar in those countries where the payment guarantee mechanism has been done. So this is one of the big things that we want to do. The second big thing that we want to do at this assembly, and we are taking a proposal there, is what we call as the solar exchange. This is a way to create entrepreneurs, particularly in Africa, but then in other countries as well. We will set up 10 problem statements. We will pick up 2 people from across the continent who are the best in providing responses to this, and provide them with the kind of exposure that they need to attract funding, to attract technology, to be able to source materials and to supply to the markets, which is why we are doing this in collaboration with Invest India and with the World Association of Investment Promotion Organizations. Together we believe that the international investors coming into Africa from the one side and with local entrepreneurs being developed on the other side will create the environment for large-scale change in the part of the world where much has been lacking in the solar area.
So how has the ISA initiative boosted collaboration and knowledge sharing between member countries on technological, R&D, financing and programmatic fronts?
As far as the ISA is concerned, as we talk to leaders, we realize that there are, 4 key issues, but let me focus on 2 of them. One is we need to provide information, the latest information as far as technology is concerned, as far as prices are concerned, as far as investments are concerned. This is an area in the solar world where these things change almost on a daily basis. So at the assembly or the day after the assembly, we will be bringing out reports on progress in solar technology, progress in solar markets, and progress in solar investments. That provides countries with up-to-date information on what is happening in the world. The second area is capacity building. And I use this in the broadest sense of the word because obviously we need to train people who can design and set up and operate solar projects. If you are a solar manufacturer or a developer, you will say, who will work for me? Therefore, what we are focusing on is developing and training people with certification so that they can then be hired by these companies. Similarly, we are creating policymakers. We have been surprised at the interest we found in the training program on solar technology for bankers. Across the world, we have seen bankers come in. Clearly, it is important to them. So, providing knowledge to all of these based on the knowledge of all that is happening in our member countries has been very important to us. I spoke of the payment guarantee mechanism. Again, how will it be used? Unless we have people who are trained in using it, it will be very difficult. So all of this becomes together in the creation of knowledge and in its dissemination to build up local demand for solar energy.
Can you tell us about the energy transition targets committed to by India and the significance of solar power in our renewable energy ecosystem?
I'm very bullish as far as the solar future in India is concerned. And I'm bullish for two reasons. The first is an economic reason. Today, solar energy provides electricity that is cheaper than any other form of electricity as long as the sun is shining. So during the day, we are able to get electricity at 1.99 rupees per unit, whereas from coal, it is 3.5 rupees per unit. From diesel, it's almost 25 rupees per unit. But as I said, it is only during the time when the sun is shining. We have talked of batteries and the kind of price decreases that are occurring. And we expect that in the next 1, 2, 3 years, we will see solar plus batteries providing electricity that is cost effective with fossil fuel based electricity. This will be an important point. So economics is one, because beyond that point, it will become difficult to justify any new fossil fuel based investment. The second is that as we grow, and particularly as the production linked incentive scheme comes in, there will be a larger and larger number of manufacturers and developers who then find their own ways of setting up solar energy to meet your needs and mine.
And sir, does India, being a tropical country, a Surya Putra, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, and also a large consumer base, make us an ideal production hub come market of solar power? Which all sectors of our economy you feel can benefit from a boom in solar energy?
I am also a marginal farmer. For the last 7 years, I've used a solar pump. It has completely changed the production dynamics and the economic dynamics of my little farm. I expect that solar pumps will completely change the picture of things to come. We are seeing all kinds of interesting models coming up to address this, whether it is for primary health centers, where vaccines storage becomes a lot more effective if solar can be used to provide the cooling. We can help have solar cold storages, where essentially you're freezing water to meet the need during the night when the sun is not there. One can have solar rooftop systems. In other words, the way in which you and I will start using solar in our daily lives.
So both poor and rich countries are part of this alliance. So how does the ISA manage the cost sharing between rich and poor countries?
The goal of the ISA is to provide services to all its members. Obviously, we provide more services to the members who do not have as much solar capacity as the richer countries do. So, for example, the information, the advocacy that we do is for all our countries. The capacity building that we do is largely for our developing countries. We also help create demonstration programs. That's only for the least developed countries and the small island developing states. We do not have every country paying a membership fees. Countries can voluntarily provide whatever they so wish. India has been by far the largest contributor to the International Solar Alliance, and as a result we are headquartered in India. We are possibly the only intergovernmental organization which is headquartered in India. But then this was an Indian idea. Remember, it is the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, who put up this idea before the world at the Climate Change Conference in Paris.
There's another initiative which we've been hearing about, the Global Solar Atlas, launched by ISA and World Bank. What is the use of this initiative for investors and solar developers?
At the end of the day, if I want to set up, for example, a solar park, I want to figure out where to do it. The Solar Atlas provides me with a picture of the kinds of solar insolation that is available in various places. It also provides me with information on various countries, what are the kinds of programs, and consequently helps me as a developer in figuring out which would be the best geographies to invest in.
So you just said that India has played a very major role in the setting up, in fact, in mooting the idea of ISA. Prime Minister Narendra Modi talked about that the sunshine countries have a special advantage which needs to be harnessed, which needs to be used, and it has been given this, it has manifested itself in this International Solar Alliance. So where do you see India standing in the global solar energy ecosystem, and how do you see India playing a leadership role?
India has a huge amount of experience, and that is the biggest thing that India brings to the table. Through the International Solar Alliance, we move to other countries, and ultimately, if you want to say something, you have to say how it can be done. Well, here is an example of how it has been done. We as a country have over 60 gigawatts of solar energy in the country. As little as, I think, 2012 or 2013, it was zero. So we went from 0 to 60 in 10 years? How did we do it? So first is the institutional models, the openness, the transparency, competitive bidding, the power purchase agreements that the developers, that were already done between the places where we wanted the plants and potential users. All of these kinds of things help in development. The second thing is that there is also therefore a huge amount of experience amongst players which can be moved to other countries. So if we are talking of these entrepreneurs in Africa, who do they have as their mentors? I talked of the 3 companies which are making a business of providing mini-grid solar in UP. They are the mentors that they are looking forward to. We therefore look at India providing here and now experience to the rest of the world as it builds up solar capacity.
So, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has repeatedly stressed on the importance of sustainable living and sustainable development. You feel that maximizing adoption and usage of solar energy through initiatives like ISA will help meet our sustainability goals and also address the challenge of energy security worldwide?
The answer is very simply yes. Of course it will, because solar enables local development of both jobs and of productivity. It helps develop a local energy resource rather than imports. It lowers the global CO2 emissions. That's all great. But what it also does is enable development to occur in a manner that is conducive to global sustainability. This is important. And when we look at the two of them together, here is a model that is being presented on how we can move ahead. This experience by doing provides a much greater degree of confidence to other countries.
And the aspect of energy security, which has become a major, developing into a crisis in some countries as we see, you feel that solar energy can help alleviate that?
In 2021, before the Russia-Ukraine war broke out, we saw about $200 billion being invested in solar. This year, early estimates suggest that that figure has already been crossed. We are in October. What it implies is that the war has provided a far greater degree of urgency to invest in solar energy as opposed to imports of fossil fuels.
Dr. Mathur, thank you so much for taking out time and enlightening us about the various key aspects of this path-breaking global initiative towards a clean and green earth.
Thank you very much.
You were listening to an exclusive interview with Dr. Ajay Mathur, Director General, International Solar Alliance on Priorities and Focus Areas of 5th Assembly of ISA. The interviewer was Sonu Sood, AIR correspondent. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official.